There was a time when people lived with their doors open, not just physically, but emotionally. A time when knowing our neighbors wasn't a courtesy but a necessity. When solitude was an occasional retreat, not a way of life. But today we build walls, both seen and unseen, higher than ever before. Privacy has become the new currency. We guard it fiercely as if exposure itself is a wound that might never heal. The world, once vast and interconnected, now feels like a series of small islands, each person retreating into their own, waiting for a storm that may never come. And I can't help but wonder, when did we become so fragile? When did a simple conversation, an unfiltered moment, a glimpse into our private thoughts start feeling like a risk instead of a bridge? It is easy to say that it's the times we live in, that technology and surveillance and the constant presence of others has made us wary. But maybe, just maybe, this obsession with privacy is less about protection and more about uncertainty. A sign, not of strength, but of a deep, unspoken weakness. Because we are a generation struggling to define ourselves. We talk about connection, about belonging, about the need for community. But our actions tell a different story. We move away from crowded spaces, we retreat into screens, we hide behind passwords and locks, convinced that the more we control access to our lives, the more we remain in control of ourselves. But control is not clarity. The person who truly knows who they are does not fear being seen. So what does it say about us, this collective withdrawal? We are a world that has become unsure of itself. The more we struggle to understand who we are, the more we guard our unfinished selves from the world. Privacy is no longer just about keeping secrets. It's become about keeping safe the version of us that isn't ready to be questioned. And yet the irony is clear. Without exposure, without reflection in the eyes of another, how do we ever truly find ourselves? Maybe the fear isn't just about privacy. Perhaps it's about what happens when our walls come down. To be seen is to be known, and to be known is to be vulnerable. What if we are judged? What if we are misunderstood? What if the world sees a version of us that we haven't even come to terms with yet? It's so much easier to just withdraw, to exist in a controlled space where the narrative is ours to shape, where we reveal only what we are ready to reveal. But isolation is a slow poison. At first, it feels like comfort, a relief from the noise, from the opinions, from the expectations. But over time, it becomes a kind of suffocation, an existence where no one truly knows us, not even ourselves. Because identity is not found in solitude. It is shaped by interaction, by friction, by the messy, uncomfortable process of being known. And yet here we are, holding our privacy close, mistaking it for peace, when it's so often just fear wearing a different name. But this won't last forever. It never does. History moves in cycles, and human nature, despite its tendencies to retreat, always finds its way back to connection. We are at a trough, yes? A trough in the timeline of our spiritual existence, a low point in the rhythm of our collective spirit, a time of emotional fragility where privacy feels like a shield and vulnerability feels like a weakness. But like all seasons, this one too will shift. There will come a time when the loneliness outweighs the fear, when the silence of privacy becomes too heavy to bear, when people remember what it means to be truly seen, not just through a screen, not just in passing, but in real, unfiltered, unguarded presence. It won't happen all at once. Change never does. But slowly we'll start to crave the things we've abandoned, the warmth of shared laughter, the safety of being understood, the relief of knowing that we were never meant to carry the weight of existence alone. And when that time comes, privacy will take its rightful place, not as a cage, but as a choice. Not as a retreat from the world, but as a space to recharge before stepping back into it. Because in the end, we were never meant to live behind walls. We were meant to live in the spaces between them.